I hope you found learning about Hagar's story meaningful. Hagar's experience of naming God is perhaps the most radical act of mothering we've seen. Hannah longs to be a mother to a human child. Rachel reminds God that God is a mother, and Hagar acts as a mother to God, God's self. Hagar, an Egyptian maidservant of Sarah, runs away and finds herself in the wilderness, alone and desperate. In her distress, an angel of God appears to her and provides comfort, promising that her son Ishmael will become a great nation. In response, Hagar names God Kel Roi, the God who sees me. This act of naming God is stunning. It doesn't merely reflect Hagar's recognition of God's intimate awareness and care for her. It places her in the role of maternal parent, giving God a name just as parents do to their own children. Hagar's naming of God is echoed in the stories of Hannah and Rachel. Hannah, in her anguish over being childless, calls God Hashem Tzvaot, and Rachel, according to the Midrash, calls God Rachaman, motherly compassion, when she pleads for her children. The act of naming God allows these women to define their relationship with the divine, each choosing a name that coheres with their personal experience and need. Naming is a powerful modality for us to engage with as we try on different ways of relating to God. The name we call someone influences how we see them and how they show up in our lives. This naming is one facet of how our foremothers mother God, relating to God from their position as mother and influencing God to act in maternal ways, God's self. Mary Benjamin explains how God can both mother us and be vulnerable to our influence. She says, God's capacity for being affected by Israel parallels the vulnerability parents face when they have children. This vulnerability doesn't negate the sense that one party has more power than the other, but it complicates our conception of what greater power truly means. God's true power includes being moved by our needs and our cries. This idea also enriches our understanding of Hagar's story, where God hears Ishmael's cry where he is, affirming that God listens to us in our specific circumstances and meets us where we are. Hagar's story teaches us that we can see ourselves deeply known and cared for by God. Just as Hagar named God El Roi and found comfort in God's awareness, we too can find solace in knowing that God sees and hears us wherever we are. Her story invites us to embrace the vulnerability and intimacy of our relationship with God, much like a child relies on a parent. As we conclude, let's reflect on the main takeaways of our course. Maternal voices. We've explored how biblical mothers like Hannah, Rachel, Sarah, and Hagar have shown us different facets of connecting with God. Their stories teach us to approach God with authenticity and emotional depth. Mothering God. Our foremothers model that we too can mother God, approaching God through a stance of intimacy rather than distance. We can affect God through our own nurturing of God. Naming God. The act of naming God allows us to personalize our relationship with the divine, influencing how we perceive and engage with God. God as mother. The concept of God as a nurturing, responsive parent challenges us to see our relationship with God as one of trust and reliance. We have learned that God hears our cries and is intimately involved in our lives, meeting us where we are. May you, like Hannah, Rachel, and Hagar, develop a profound and intimate relationship with God. May you feel God's presence in your times of need and joy, and may your prayers be heard and answered. May you be blessed with the ability to pour out your heart in prayer, to feel deeply connected to God, and to trust in God's nurturing care. May your relationship with the divine be as intimate and strong as the bonds of a loving parent and child.